Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, October 20, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we need to look at some climatology. Considering that today is the 20th day of the month, we want to get an update. So we are supposed to be somewhere around here, falling off of the mountain that represents Atlantic hurricane and tropical storm activity. So we're in the last 10 days of October. As you can see, we should be tapering off in terms of activity, but we know that activity still goes all the way through even up until the end of November. So we definitely have to stay updated to even see if we get something to form in November, and we can even get things to form in December as well. So we just have to stay updated with the weather for sure, because anything can happen. So we're now at the time period from October 21 to October 31. So today is October 30 and we're heading into the last 10 days. Is it 10 days or is it 11 days? Either way, we're heading into the last part of the month, and we're basically looking here at the tropical and subtropical cyclone points of origin and tracks. All of these yellow dots represent where we've seen systems form during the time period from 1851 to 2023. And we see that we have numerous yellow dots right here to the southwest of Jamaica, even the Western Caribbean, to the south of Hispaniola. We even have some activity across the main development region, the southwestern Atlantic, the Gulf, right here to the south of Mexico. So we can still get a lot of things to happen this time of year, especially across the Caribbean with what is expected to come within the week. And it all makes sense because even the typical tracks and origins map here from the Weather Channel shows the same thing, especially the Western Caribbean. That's a hot spot. Anything in the reds is definitely a hot spot for where these systems form. And we can see that most of them usually push northward over Cuba, into the Bahamas, southern Florida. So we have to stay updated. It's a bit too close for comfort for us here in Jamaica. So we need to see how it's actually going to be playing out regarding future Melissa. If we take a look here at the sea surface temperature anomalies map, so it's October 20. This one just came out on October 19, and as you can see here, we have very warm sea surface temperatures across the entire Atlantic. All of this represents the yellows into the oranges. The yellows, we know that means anywhere from 1 maybe up to 3 degrees Celsius above average sea surface temperatures. Basically how warm the waters are at the skin of the ocean. We see a lot of that across the Caribbean into the Gulf for sure. And not only that, we still have that La Nina trying to come along. We know that La Nina is only have cooler than average sea surface temperatures across the eastern to the central Pacific, thus causing little to no wind shear across the Caribbean and the Atlantic. So we have more rising air in the Atlantic for sure. So we don't have an El Nino at all to be causing more thunderstorms here and thus more wind shear at all. And it's not only about how warm the waters are at the skin of the ocean, but how warm the waters are the deeper we go into the ocean. This map right here shows the ocean heat content. Look at how warm the waters are. All of these yellows into the oranges, the reds, especially across the Caribbean, represents that deep warm water. So if we get a system like that tropical wave that's pushing through the Caribbean right now to sit on top of these warm waters, it's just going to be churning up even more warm water unlike if it was over here, it would have a cool wake on top of the sea surface. I'm not going to be seeing any cool wake here because it's just going to be churning up even more warm water, and you'd expect that it would be getting weaker, but nope, it's just going to be getting even stronger. We're going to be looking at that system shortly, but let us take a look first at the 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook here that just came out from the U.S. National Hurricane Center as of 7:23 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And if we take a look here, we can definitely see that we have a code red now. I've been talking about this code red yesterday. It was more so just to the west of the Windward Islands yesterday. Now it is right here to the south of the Dominican Republic, right here to the north of the ABC Islands, pushing westward, and now has a very high chance of developing. And if we take a look at the infrared, the latest infrared of the Atlantic, you can see the clouds, the showers, and the thunderstorms associated with it. Bring some bad weather to portions of Venezuela, sections of the ABC Islands, and still affecting portion of the Lesser Antilles. And we see some of the activity across section of the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico as we speak. A lot of thunderstorms. We're going to be zooming in shortly on what's taking place, but let us read the latest here from the Hurricane Center about this code red first. We don't have much people reading these. We need to read them. We have to stay updated. So it states here, a large area of showers and thunderstorms persists over the eastern Caribbean Sea to the east of a tropical wave. The system still appears to lack a closed surface circulation, but environmental conditions are soon forecast to become more conducive for development. A tropical depression or tropical storm is expected to form within the next day or two, while the system slows its forward motion over the central Caribbean Sea. Regardless of development, heavy rainfall and gusty winds are possible over portions of the ABC Islands during the next couple of days. Interests in Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Jamaica, and Cuba should monitor the progress of this disturbance, as there is a risk of heavy rain and flooding, strong winds, and rough surf later this week. For additional information on this system, including gale warnings, please see high seas forecast issued by the National Weather Service. And now we see that they have given this system both a 90% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days, as well as within the next 7 days. So even within the next 2 days, we can get a depression or a storm. We're talking about Tuesday, Wednesday. It's very possible that we could get this system to have a name. And if we zoom in, we can definitely see the clouds, the showers, and the thunderstorms here associated with it. It is even starting to have that look. We see the upper level wind starting to fan out. Even though we have some slight upper level winds coming in from the east, blowing those cloud tops off towards that direction, that is expected to lighten up as it continues to push westward in the warmer waters, and we're going to be having this system developing for sure. There's a high chance for it to develop. It's not going to maintain that tropical wave status at all. It's going to be getting up there in intensity. We just hope that it doesn't get to Berry-like or Ivan-like or Dean-like intensity at all. We don't want any of that at all. Bring the rainfall. That's all we need, to keep water in our pipes and to cool down the temperatures. And if we take a look at what the latest Euro ensemble spaghetti model plots are showing regarding the path of this system, we see where it's located right now across the central or east central Caribbean right here. It is expected to push westward, and then we see after that we're not really sure exactly what's going to be doing, what it is going to be doing. Some of them take it into portions of Central America, maybe brushing northeastern Honduras, maybe the Yucatan into Belize. Some of them take it south of Jamaica and push it to the north, and then threads the needle between the Cayman Islands and Jamaica. Some of them make it into Jamaica. We see that black line that represents the average or the mean of all of these lines. Take it across Jamaica and then across southeastern Cuba. And we see a lot of them take it up into portions of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. That is just the Euro ensembles. What does the GFS spaghetti model plots show? Right here, they're still in agreement that it should be strengthening and making that turn sooner, majority of them. So we see a lot of them crossing over Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Only a few of them making it to the west or crossing over Jamaica, but We still definitely have to watch to see how it plays out. Will it actually be a situation like where we had Hurricane Matthew in 2016, something crossing over into Haiti? Or will this be different, like what the Euro is suggesting? Something coming too close for comfort across Jamaica, and the thing is going to be moving slowly, because where it's located right now, we see that on the infrared, and it is expected to be here to the southeast of Jamaica in the next 2 days. So that would be, let's say, Wednesday, Thursday, it's right here, and it's also going to still be here on Friday into Saturday. I mean, you can see the numbers here. That represents 48 hours, 72 hour, 120 or even some 168 hour time frame here, just to show how slow the system is going to be moving. So the main takeaway is that there's going to be a lot of rainfall, and as you can see here, the intensity model guidance takes it up to tropical storm status. You know that tropical storm status is represented by the green, so anywhere from 35 knots all the way up to, I believe it's 64 knots if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that's tropical storm status for those of us who use knots instead of the miles per hour, like what the United States uses. So we see some of them making it up to tropical storm status with this system. That would be the next name on the list we know, which is Melissa. Not Nestor as yet, so we're still working on getting Melissa to form. Some of these supercomputer models actually take the system up into hurricane status by the next 3 days. We see some of them heading up into the yellows. As a matter of fact, 2 of them take it far up into category 4 status. More than likely that won't happen, especially considering that most of the models keep it down here in tropical storm, if not category 1 status. So hopefully we don't have anything to worry about. But boy, we know that intensity model guidance isn't really the hurricane center's strong suit. There have been many times in the past where they predict that, oh, it's just going to be a tropical storm or a category 1 hurricane, and then suddenly we have some rapid intensification, and then, boy, you know the rest. So hopefully it's not a case like that. Hopefully we don't have anything to worry about regarding this system. But we need to take a look at the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 0Z on Thursday, October 23. So that is about 7 p.m. on Wednesday. 7 p.m. on Wednesday. This is where the Euro has the system. So let me draw a circle right here. We see the isobars associated with it, definitely looking stronger than what we've been seeing for the past couple of days. This is where the Euro has it, just here to the southeast of Jamaica. We will definitely be getting in on some of that northeasterly flow around that center of circulation by that time. So northern parishes more than likely in the morning, if not the nighttime. And you know, southern parishes only have that daytime heating during the afternoon. And it's going to be moving slowly. 999 millibars. That's tropical depression, if not tropical storm status for sure. Where does the GFS have the system? All right, almost the same era, but look at that. Even a tightly packed system. We see more isobars. We see even deeper convection with the greens, yellows, oranges, and reds. And we see the millibars way down there. That looks like 985 millibars. If not strong tropical storm status, that could be category 1, maybe, I don't know, category 2 hurricane status. So clearly we see that the Euro for the next 2 days is a bit faster with the system and a bit weaker, and the GFS a bit slower with the system and definitely stronger. Very interesting. Let us see what is being forecasted for 18Z on Thursday. So that's about 1 p.m. on Thursday, October 23. So we just looked at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Now we're looking at 1 p.m. on Thursday. So 1 p.m. on Thursday, it looks like it's coming a bit closer. If you look at it right here, 996 millibars, still having a lot of moisture with the dark greens into the yellows, into the oranges and the reds. What does the GFS show? All right, there we see that the GFS is moving it into portions of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So we still have that motion towards the northeast from the GFS. Boy, we haven't seen any kind of change as yet regarding the GFS. The GFS is still sticking to its guns regarding taking the system across Haiti and the Dominican Republic. The Euro has actually made the turn a bit sooner now, so I'm guessing it did a little caving to what the GFS has been showing. given that we've been seeing that it's pushing across Jamaica, but that is within a 10-day time frame. And you know that anything that surpasses the 168-hour time frame isn't really set in stone. But boy, this would be a concerning result if this takes place, pushing the system as such a strong system, strong intensity into Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And you know the struggles that Haiti already faces. Boy, they use up all of their trees to, you know, make coal, and they don't really have many trees in that country, so it's very easy for them to flood, landslides, you name it. This is why when they have tropical systems, you hear a lot of high numbers regarding the death toll. So we hope that the GFS is wrong with this one. Not saying that we want what the Euro is showing, but boy, you know their dilemma, or even with the governments and the gangs already. All right, so let us see what the future holds. So we're heading now into 18th on Friday, and this is what we're talking about. If you look at all of the Euros that we showed so far, Euro has the system right here. That's Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. Euro has the system right here. That is 1 p.m. on Thursday. Euro has the system right here, almost the same spot, 1 p.m. on Friday. What does that mean for Jamaica? That means that there's a lot of rainfall coming in. I mean, we have a whole area of low pressure with a lot of moisture spinning around it in a counterclockwise fashion. So if we have a slow moving system like this, it's just going to be pushing even more rainfall, especially into the east and the north. Everywhere, to be honest, is going to be getting in a lot of rainfall. This could be a very bad situation. We could have landslides, rock slides, swollen rivers across Jamaica for sure. We know that the eastern side is usually the most impactful side of the system, but if we have a system so close to us and it's bringing us a lot of moisture spinning around that area of low pressure, it's definitely gonna spell bad news for us in general. So anyways, this is what the Euro is showing for 18th on Friday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Friday. So it's right here just to the southeast of Jamaica still, just to show that it is moving so slowly, barely even moving at all. So we're talking about almost 2 days, almost 3 days, almost 3 days of rainfall so far. What does the GFS show? Let me see. All right, so the GFS is still sticking to its guns. Now it is taking the system to the north of Hispaniola, so it made that turn, push towards that direction, and as you can see, it should be north of the Dominican Republic by 1 p.m. on Friday, according to the GFS. So these next 2 days are very critical, because imagine we're within the 7-day time frame and we're not really sure what's going to be taking place, because the two major global models are at odds. And as you can see from what the Hurricane Center has shown, the fact that when we look at their 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook, we don't even see a red patterned thing pushing across Hispaniola. Just shows that they don't even believe what the GFS is showing at all. They are more inclined to believe what the Euro is showing. Trust me, I've seen this before. The GFS usually shows something crazy is going to be happening, and then it drops it at the last second and follows what the Euro is showing. So these next 2 days are very critical to find out which will actually win. Will it be the Euro taking it slower and coming closer to Jamaica with all of that rainfall, or will it be the GFS pushing the system more so into portions of Hispaniola? Let us see how it plays out. So that's what it is showing for 1 p.m. on Friday. Look at this one. So we're stopping it right here. So we're going to be looking at 18Z on Sunday. So that's 1 p.m. on Sunday. And this is where the Euro model has the system right here to the south of Jamaica. I mean, look at that. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the system is still south of Jamaica, sending a lot more moisture into us. That's a lot of rainfall that's going to be taking place. The rivers are going to be flooded. This is going to be a bad situation for sure. Easily Jamaica can flood. Just an afternoon rainfall and Jamaica is flooding. So can you imagine almost 4 days of rainfall, if not 5? And then what does the GFS show? More than likely way out of here. There we go. GFS is way out here to the north of the Dominican Republic and Haiti still. So boy, it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out for sure. And the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps here that are showing all the rainfall that's expected. This is all the rainfall that's expected to pile up from now up until Monday, October 27, 2025. And all of these pinks into the peaches into the blues across the waters to the south of Haiti and Dominican Republic to the southeast of Jamaica, that is representing what we're seeing here on the key on the right. We're talking about anywhere from 4 all the way up to maybe 15-20 inches of rainfall if this actually verifies. The GFS, of course, is going to be having most of the rainfall across Hispaniola into Puerto Rico, because that is where the GFS is showing that the system should go, towards that direction. So boy, whichever one, there's going to be some kind of flooding for somebody. If not the southeastern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, then more than likely especially the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. We'll see it actually plays out, and I will definitely be here to keep you posted with whatever occurs with our future tropical storm Melissa. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see this blue spike line right here off the southeast coast of the United States associated with a cold front. We can also see the line associated with that tropical wave across the east central Caribbean. Another tropical wave right here to the far east of the Caribbean. Another tropical wave right here just to the southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. And we know they are being steered from east-west, all courtesy of this ridge of high pressure to the north. And if we take a look at the visible satellite imagery of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out all of these entities that we just mentioned. We can see the clouds right here of the east coast of the US extending down to Florida and the Gulf associated with that frontal system. We can see the clouds associated with that tropical wave across the east central Caribbean pushing westward. We can also see the clouds associated with that other tropical wave right in here across the main development region, and to the southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands, that other tropical wave right in here. All of these being steered from east to west, all courtesy of this ridge of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Monday, October 20, 2025. It was stated that some rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of eastern Jamaica on Monday morning, also affecting sections of some southern and western parishes during Monday afternoon. I know that eastern parishes in Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. While for the southern parishes, we're talking about those parishes like Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And for our western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. So for the morning, eastern parishes were predicted to get that rainfall, and what ended up happening? A post was made here on our X page at around 9:55 a.m. And you know that these posts aren't only made here on our X page at Weather Jamaica, but they're also made here on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see the clouds that were bringing some isolated thundershower activity this morning across the east, just as predicted. So far eastern St. Thomas definitely got on the isolated thundershower activity. Some of the activity was also affecting section of Portland, and some of it also spilled into section of St. Mary this morning. Even though St. Mary is not an eastern parish, that is a central parish. Some of the rainfall from Portland spilled into St. Mary as well, and I'm sure they're grateful for that rainfall. So that forecast that was made this morning definitely came to fruition. Eastern Jamaica got their morning rainfall. Then it was also predicted for southern and western parishes during the afternoon. And what ended up happening? At around 1:41 p.m., the visible satellite image was posted. This one from the weather ndc.nasa.gov website, because boy, the Weather Nerds satellite imagery was out. A lot of websites satellite imagery were out today. Some glitch went on, but I'm grateful that that is fixed by now. But as you can see, the visible satellite imagery right here across Jamaica show that we're definitely getting on some rainfall across sections of some southern and western parishes today. So we're talking about anywhere from southern St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, and St. Andrew got in on some amount of afternoon of rainfall on Sunday, just as predicted. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica, we can see the clouds right here before we lost the sunlight. All of the clouds that brought us the rainfall across the southern and western end. And we can also see the upper level winds pushing those cloud tops off towards the east, all courtesy of that upper level wind shear. And we can see it all even better on the infrared right here, the infrared showing the blues into the greens into the yellows, oranges, and red. That represents that cumulonimbus cloud cover across the island, and all of these sparkling white dots that represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. So we definitely had some thunderstorm activity across especially some southern and western parishes, just as predicted. And we even have the Jamaican Doppler radar imagery to show we can have cloud cover over an area and not necessarily rainfall, and it's good to have the Jamaican Doppler radar imagery to look at. And as you can see here, we definitely have that rainfall across the southern and western parishes, just like where we saw the clouds across section of Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland. That is where you see the greens into the yellows into the gold colors that represents that light moderate even some heavy rainfall. So that is exactly what took place, and I am sure the people are grateful for the little cool down. And we even have some confirmation right here. See Jamaica's YouTube channel. This is halfway through in St. Andrew at around 1:47 p.m. and as you can see, we have some people sheltering. They were definitely getting on some moderate to heavy rainfall at that time. We can see people in their vehicles, windshield wipers definitely on. A lot of lightning was taking place as well. There's some decent rainfall in halfway through at that time for sure. I'm sure that the kids who have to pass through this area are grateful that today was a whole holiday so that they didn't have to go through any of this. And if we take a look here at the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint quite the picture, for we had that rainfall for sure across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. Alright, we also had some comments that came in confirming what the weather is like in some of our followers' areas today. We have Jay stating exactly the same, also in the vicinity of that. This was when we highlighted a video showing some moderate to heavy rainfall that was taking place in the vicinity of Mullines Road in St. Andrew. So I'm guessing that Jay was in the same area. We also have King Kong stating rain lightly in Old Harbor that was posted 5 hours ago. We have Deborah Jardine stating light drizzle but lots of thunder in Barbican that was posted 5 hours ago. We have Zodi Max in St. Mary posting 8 hours ago. St. Mary rain. We have Active 4081 posting 8 hours ago. Clarendon sunny. Youth Silvera 1179 stating no rain in West Portland but it's overcast. We also have Sandra Brown 2882 posting 4 hours ago. Very cloudy with thunder in Portmore. Active 4081 posting 4 hours ago. Cloudy. We also have Ryan Winter stating me can't even see the sky. No rain though. We even had some comments that came in here on our Instagram page. We had Misha37 stating sun is hot in St. Anne. CC.Melanin posting 4 hours ago. In Kingston, thunder and lightning, heavy rain. We have Kel4011 posting 3 hours ago. Rain on and off. Thunder in Portmore, loving the rain but not the thunder. We also have 876 eggs underscore and underscore poultry underscore farm posting 4 hours ago. Overcast in Manchester. Hot Diva 114 stating light rainfall in Portmore. We also have Sassy La Hermosa posting 2 hours ago. Dry like chips, Clarendon. We have Edward Stenisha posting 3 hours ago. We got nice rain in South Manchester. We also have Steffi underscore Princess posting 4 hours ago. Raining in Central Kingston, lots of thunder. We have Marlon underscore One God underscore stating partly cloudy weather Jamaica. We even have one Ryan that underscore posting 4 hours ago. Overcast with thunder in Hanover so far. Tish underscore Authentic underscore stating getting overcast in Rose Hall, Montego Bay, no rain yet. And we even have Bana underscore Bay posting 4 hours ago. Thunder rumbling here in it's overcast, but no rain yet. Chef underscore McQueen posting 3 hours ago. Boulevard all rain. Precipitation 1 posting 4 hours ago. Heavy thunder 2. Lori underscore sitting. I St. Mary alone I get bright hot sunshine. Well, of course, because you're on the north coast. And today's forecast for southern and western parishes getting all of it. We even had some comments that came in here on our threads page. The Dregrizzy stating heavy rainfall in St. Catherine, Greater Portmore area. We have Shireen Louis stating it's cloudy in Kingsvale, Hanover, but no rain. We have Rosemary.Kingden stating hot and sunny in St. Mary. And we even had some comments that came in here on our TikTok page. We had Trifine stating Westmoreland, Withorn area raining. We have Cher Elise stating Spanish Town raining. We have Dreamy underscore Deserts 123 stating Kingston raining. And we even have Tini Aroshan 876 stating raining Garden Town, St. Andrew, and Betty Huang stating no rain Barbican. It did started a little for a few minutes and stopped. Alright, so that indeed confirms the comments that lets me know what took place over the past 24 hours in some of you guys parishes. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still image here from the Weather Nerds website. Let us reload the very latest Jamaican Doppler radar imagery, the very latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery, the very latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar imagery, and the latest Cayman radar imagery. We want to see exactly what's taking place across Jamaica right now. So the latest still image from the Weather Nerds website is showing 0025 UTC, which is actually 7:25 p.m. So this just came out 9 minutes ago, considering that it is 7:34 p.m. right now. And as you can see, we have some thunderstorms right here affecting portion of Trelawney. You also see some thunderstorms to the north of St. Anne. All of these blues into the greens represent some thunderstorms, and we even see the sparkling white dots that we know represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. So do we actually see the rainfall on the Jamaican Doppler radar? Let us look at the latest imagery. The latest imagery just came out at 0018Z, which is actually 7:18. And there we go. We actually see the rainfall that's across the waters to the north of St. Anne, and we see that rainfall across sections of Trelawney too. The greens into the yellows, they represent some light to moderate, even some slightly heavy rainfall affecting portion of Trelawney. And we also see that rainfall right here to the north of St. Anne. And we even see some light rainfall right here across sections of St. Elizabeth, some of the rainfall even into portions of St. Mary and northwestern Portland. So I'm guessing some of these whitish shades represent some cloud cover across the southwest, and the northeast are representing some of that rainfall for sure. The Cuban Doppler radar, is it showing the latest? Okay, it is. It was glitching out earlier, but as you can see, it goes all the way up to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7:30 p.m. Jamaica time. So that just came out 6 minutes ago, considering that it is 7:36 p.m. right now. And we're actually seeing that rainfall to the north of St. Anne, the greens into the yellows. And to be honest, it looks like it's pushing southward towards St. Anne into Trelawney. Trelawney is already getting their fair share of rainfall. Could they be in for some more? We even see that rain band to the southwest of St. Elizabeth. That rain band right here intersection of St. Mary. So they're definitely getting on some rainfall, as you can see here across section of the island right now. And the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar also confirming some of that rainfall on the north coast. That's pushing into section of St. Mary, section of western Portland. We also see some rainfall across southern portion of southeastern Cuba as we speak. Just some light to moderate to even some slightly heavy rainfall. On the western side of the island, the Cayman radar also showing some rainfall to the west of us. We see that rain band that's in Trelawney. We saw that for a second right in here. And we can also see the rain bands right here to the south of the Cayman Islands, to the east of there as well. There's some light to moderate rainfall, as you can see there. Taking a look at what's taking place right now, the live camera from C Jamaica's YouTube channel. As you can see here, this is showing West Parade, downtown Kingston. And as you can see, people in their vehicles going about their business, people walking about going about their business. Definitely dry times right now. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place in downtown, and that should be the order of the evening into the night. And if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So subscribe today to our partner channel. You know, Weather Jamaica is partnered up with this YouTube channel, that's See Jamaica. So we have Weather Jamaica on YouTube, we have See Jamaica on YouTube. Please ensure that you subscribe to these channels so that you don't miss out on the weather as well as on the live streams across the island. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see about 26 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Tuesday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow. This map from the GFS is valid for 18th on Tuesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Tuesday. And we can see Jamaica right here, shaded in the yellows, that represents up to at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperature. I know the normal temperature for the month of October across Jamaica is around 89 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around the same as 31.6 degrees Celsius. So given that we should be getting at least a 1 degree Celsius above normal temperature rise tomorrow, it should be anywhere from 31.6 to 32.6 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Tuesday. And we're grateful that we don't see any maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS online Twitter page. I have to highlight, because you know that when we highlight these, we highlight them because when we don't have electricity, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So we're grateful that we don't see anything up for Tuesday from my GPS online Twitter page, but we see a lot of Wednesdays. So we're going to be talking about those Wednesdays on Tuesday evening's video. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. So if tomorrow is going to be a bit too hot for you, it states here, dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions and pets. Be cool, stay indoors and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugary drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom, the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we see a lot of dry air off the east coast of the US right here. We see a lot of dry air across the Gulf. We see a lot of dry air extending from the northwest coast of Africa across the northern portions of the main development region into the northern portion of North Atlantic. But look at where we have all of the moist air. Anywhere you see the blues, that's where we have the moisture, because that is where we have the clouds and the grays. And anywhere we have the moisture, you know, that's where we're going to be having that rainfall to cool down the temperatures and keep water in our pipes. And we see a lot of moisture, especially across the area where we have that strong tropical wave that has a medium chance of development. Look at the East Central Caribbean, a lot of moisture down there for sure. And all of that is pushing westward towards Jamaica, so it's going to be getting even more moist. Taking a look at the Saharan dust forecast for the next 3 days. So we're heading into October 21, October 22, and October 23. And as you can see here, we have Jamaica in the clear, so not much in the way of Saharan dust expected over the next 3 days for us. We know that the Saharan dust on this map is represented by the greens into the yellows, into the oranges, into the pinks. And we don't even see any oranges and pinks, so no Saharan dust to worry about at all. We know the Saharan dust can definitely cause hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. So we're indeed grateful that we don't have any Saharan dust to expect over the next 3 days. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow. So clearly the tropical wave is definitely intensifying because it's going to be churning up the seas right here to the south of the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. That is where we see the dark blues into the purples, into the pinks, into the burgundies. That represents what we see here on the key on the bottom right. We're talking about anywhere from 2 maybe up to 3 meter wave heights or more. And that's going to be, you know, all courtesy of the counterclockwise flow of the winds around that center of circulation. We're talking about anywhere from 15 to 20 to 25 knots, maybe even gusting up to 30 knots as it tries to make it up to that tropical storm status. We know 35 knots is the threshold for a tropical storm. So this is what's going to be churning up the seas tomorrow to the south of Hispaniola. And if we take a look at Jamaica's wave forecast for tomorrow, to the north of Portland for the Fisher Folk, we have 1.1 meter wave height expected. To the north of St. Anne, 0.7 of a meter wave height expected. To the north of Hanover, 0.6 of a meter wave height expected. To the south of Westmoreland, we have 0.6 of a meter wave height expected. To the south of Clarendon, 0.8 of a meter wave height expected. To the south of St. Thomas, what do we have? We have 1.1 meter wave height expected. And that is because of the winds that are expected across the island tomorrow. Look at the flow of the winds on the north coast. Wind should be coming in from the northeast, and we don't really have much, and we have strong winds on the south coast at all. So I'm guessing the atmosphere is starting to feel the effects of that tropical wave, starting that northeasterly flow sooner than normal. It's already coming in because we expected it on Wednesday, but it's already starting on Tuesday. So more of a northeasterly flow. We see the winds averaging about 6 knots to the north of Portland, about 10 knots to the north of Trelawney, 9 knots to the north of Hanover. Weak winds on the south coast. And you know what this means? Wherever we have the weakest wind, that is where we could have the daytime heating rainfall taking place. So those low-level clouds that are pushing in from the northeast will become mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. And then we have that afternoon thunderstorm activity across the southern parishes in Jamaica. We know southern parishes, once again, we're talking about anywhere from Westmoreland eastward. St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas could get in on that daytime heating afternoon rainfall for sure. But we could also get in on some nighttime rainfall, as well as some early morning rainfall on the north coast. And we're already getting in on that nighttime rainfall on the north coast. Just like what we showed on the Doppler radar just now, section of Trelawney getting on some rainfall. And we saw that heavy rain band to the north of St. Anne. And we also saw that we're getting on some rainfall across sections of St. Mary and Portland. So more of that is definitely in the forecast on the north coast tonight into tomorrow morning. And then clearly the southern parishes will get that daytime heating rainfall during the afternoon. And we have that upper level wind shear coming in from the southwest tomorrow. That could definitely favor more of those clouds across the northern parishes for sure. Let us see how it's going to be, happening. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 9 a.m. Jamaica time. And what do we see on both maps? We see the blues that represent rainfall across the northeastern parishes. So we're talking about anywhere from St. Anne eastward, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. That's where the morning rainfall at 9 should be. And we see that it's not only the GFS here that's showing this, but the Euro model showing something similar. Even although the Euro is trying to incorporate portion of Trelawney and St. James, we're working with the consensus. We're working with the agreement. And for now, we have the agreement for the rainfall in the morning across sections of St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland. But look at the afternoon forecast for Tuesday now. Not only are we still getting in on that rainfall across the northeast, so St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, but we're starting to get in on that daytime heating rainfall across sections of some southern and western parishes. We're talking about sections of St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland. If you're planning on going out tomorrow, Tuesday, October 21, please ensure that you bring your rain gear. We're definitely going to be in for some amount of rainfall tomorrow afternoon. We're seeing parts of southern or southeastern Hanover shaded, but not necessarily coastal Hanover. We're seeing southern St. James shaded, but not necessarily coastal St. James. So maybe Montego Bay will be spared. Coastal Trelawney as well spared. Southern Trelawney might get in on some of the action. And we clearly see that St. Anne, St. Mary and Portland have been getting on that rainfall from morning. And that's what's going to be taking place again on Tuesday afternoon, with that rainfall also affecting sections of some southern and western parishes. So that is the forecast for Jamaica for tomorrow. We are talking about morning rainfall across sections of some northern parishes, more so St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While afternoon rainfall across the southern parishes, we're talking about St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, and even some of the western parishes too. So maybe southern Hanover, southern St. James getting on some of the action, southern Trelawney getting on some of the action, as well as the northeastern parishes still getting on that morning into afternoon rainfall. So expect rainfall if you are in those parishes. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps here from the Euro and the GFS that are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. We see all of the greens into the yellows into the oranges and the reds that represents anywhere from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall all the way up to 0.81 of an inch of rainfall right here in Kingston and St. Andrew. What does the GFS show? GFS is showing that the rainfall could be getting up into the 1 inch range across sections of Manchester into St. Elizabeth. Could be more than that, it could be less than that. We have to take these forecasts with a grain of salt. And if we take a look here at the rainfall that we usually receive in St. Mary for the month of October, that's usually around 172 millimeters of rainfall for October in St. Mary. That's about the same as 6.8 inches of rainfall. While in St. Catherine, we usually receive 185 millimeters of rainfall in October. That's about the same as 7.3 inches. And if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of October, you can visit nomadseason.com and that website to show that information. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next one, John 68 hours. That stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the queue on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represent inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so we just looked at what's expected for Tuesday. Now we're going to be looking at 12Z on Wednesday. 12Z, as you know, is 7 a.m. And as you can see here, not really much of anything for Jamaica. We don't see any shading here in green across Jamaica for Wednesday morning. But Wednesday afternoon, look at the greens into the yellows, into the oranges and the reds, especially across the southern parishes. Some interesting forecasts for sure with that system just to the southeast of us is that future tropical storm Melissa right here knocking on our doorstep. What does the GFS show? Do we have agreement? First of all, Wednesday morning looks a bit different from what the Euro was showing. We're seeing rainfall across the northeastern parishes. We're also seeing future tropical storm Melissa looking quite formidable right here to the south of Haiti. And then for the afternoon, we're seeing that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica. Interesting. What do we see on Thursday morning? On Thursday morning, we're seeing some rainfall across the eastern end of the island, even the northeast. Look at how close future Melissa should be closing in on us. Still moving slowly though. Then on Thursday afternoon, we're still expecting rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show? On Thursday morning, we're seeing that rainfall across the northeastern end of the island, but clearly the GFS wants to take the system closer to Haiti and the Dominican Republic. We've been talking about this. GFS has a mind of its own. Euro has a mind of its own. As I've stated before, Tuesday into Wednesday will be the time period that we're going to be sure with whatever takes place. Will it actually be the Euro winning, or will it actually be the GFS winning regarding future tropical storm Melissa? Euro making it slower and pushing it south of Jamaica. GFS, making the intensity faster and pushing it into Hispaniola. Which one of these models will win? But this is what Thursday morning looks like. Some rainfall across the northeastern parishes in Jamaica. Thursday afternoon, still getting in on some rainfall across sections of some central and eastern parishes, with that system about to make landfall in Hispaniola. The Euro, if we continue out in time for Friday morning, we're seeing that system just to the southeast of us. The northern and eastern parishes getting in on that rainfall. Then on a Friday afternoon, we're seeing that rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. What does the GFS show for the same time period for Friday? Friday morning, still getting some rainfall across the northeast. Clearly, the system should be exiting the north coast of the Dominican Republic according to this GFS run. Then on Friday afternoon, we are seeing that rainfall more so across the eastern and southern parishes. What do we see on Saturday morning? Saturday morning, still having that system to the south of Jamaica, still bring a lot of rainfall to the central and eastern parishes. Saturday afternoon, look at the moisture across the eastern end to the western end with the brunt of the activity to the south of Jamaica. What does the GFS show? Saturday morning, some isolated showers across the northeast. Saturday afternoon, What do we see on the GFS? Still getting on some rainfall across the northeast, and we see how broad the spin is right here to the north of the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. Will it actually play out like this? We have to stay updated to see how it goes. What do we see on Sunday morning? So we're wrapping it up now. We're just going out to the next 7 days. We don't want to see anything after because you know that is subject to change. What we're sure about now is this motion, this slow motion that the system should be making. So Sunday morning, having the system to the south of us, trying to get its act together, maybe trying to make a run at hurricane status. We see a lot of moisture across Jamaica right there. Then on Sunday afternoon, still expecting rainfall, and we're talking about some flood triggering rainfall, and we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid from Monday, October 27, and we see the system right here just to the south or to the southwest of Jamaica. We see the abundance of moisture still going to be pushing up into us from that southerly flow right here. I'm telling you, we're going to be flooded for sure. A lot of rivers are going to be in spate if the Euro is actually right. If the GFS is right, we're going to be spared the brunt of the rainfall for sure. We can see that for Sunday morning, we're seeing that rainfall across the northern parishes on Sunday afternoon. What do we see? Not really much of anything because Jamaica is no longer feeling the effects of that broad area of low pressure. It's more so to the north of the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico by that time. So we see that within the 7-day time frame, there is still a lot of uncertainty. But one of these models is going to cave within the next 24 to 48 hours. Is either the Euro is going to cave to what the GFS is showing and bring the system more so across Hispaniola, or it's either the GFS is going to cave to what the Euro is showing and bring the system more so closer to Jamaica and south of us. Which one of these models will win? Let me know what you think in the comments down below on our YouTube page. Please ensure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Weather Jamaica. Alright, so regarding the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, we've been talking about this earlier. Let's talk about it again because this rainfall total is ridiculous. Look at the amount of rainfall that's expected. First of all, this is the GFS, and the GFS, as we stated before, has that system crossing over Hispaniola, Puerto Rico. So most of the dark reds into the purples and the pinks that represents what we see here on the key on the right. That's anywhere from 2 all the way up to 25 inches of rainfall. That's going to be affecting Hispaniola, Puerto Rico. There's going to be crazy flash flooding if what the GFS is predicting comes to fruition. But what about what the Euro is showing? The Euro is showing most of that rainfall across sections of Hispaniola into the southeastern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, and Jamaica, especially the central and eastern parishes in Jamaica. That's a lot of rainfall. There could definitely be flash flooding, mudslides, rock slides, you name it. This would be a very bad situation. That is a lot of rainfall for sure, especially for the eastern end. Boy, nobody wants to see this because you know that we can have some damage, a lot of inundation, whatever the case may be. And if we zoom in on the total accumulated precipitation for the next 7 days, both maps right here are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Monday, October 27, and we see especially the central and eastern parishes here on the Euro shaded in the yellows into the oranges, reds, purples, into the grays, even into the grays. Look, you know the grays represent, we're talking about 400, almost 500 millimeters of rainfall if this actually takes place. Most of St. Thomas and Portland shaded in the purples into the, what do you even call that lighter shade of purple? Either way, that's 150 to almost 300 millimeters of rainfall if this actually takes place. Kingston into St. Andrew into the southern parishes, those areas are shaded in the oranges into the reds. That's 50 millimeters of rainfall all the way up into the 100 millimeters of rainfall while the western parish is not really getting much of anything, but they could definitely be getting on some rainfall, especially given the flow of the rainfall at first in more of an easterly, if not southeasterly kind of fashion across the island, with that system just to our south. The GFS more than likely is going to be bring us the rainfall across the north, because remember where the system is going according to the GFS. The system is going over Hispaniola, so we're going to be on the left side or the drier side of the system. So more so of a northeasterly kind of flow, bringing more of that rainfall into the northeastern end of the island. So it makes sense that the most rainfall of the next 7 days, according to the GFS, would be across the northeastern parishes. We're talking about Portland, St. Mary. We are seeing the yellows into the oranges, into the pinks, into the reds. That represents anywhere from 30 all the way up to at least 90 millimeters of rainfall. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I will definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs on our YouTube platform. So please ensure that you subscribe to this channel. All right. Let us take a look at what's taking place across the rest of the basin. So before we lost the sunlight, we saw that tropical wave trying to get its act together right here to the south of Puerto Rico. We see a lot of the moisture pushing from east to west. It's definitely coming our way. We're going to be in for some decent rainfall as we head into Wednesday, especially Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Very interesting times ahead for sure. So the eastern portion of the Caribbean have been getting some rainfall throughout the day today. Even yesterday, they definitely got a lashing. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar imagery here near Puerto Rico, we can see what's taking place in terms of the rain bands. So we're seeing some decent moderate to heavy rainfall across southern Puerto Rico as we speak, all courtesy of that tropical wave. And if we load these images from earlier today, we see that east-southeasterly flow pushing just to the south of Puerto Rico. Some of the rain bands here off of western Puerto Rico pushing into eastern portion of the Dominican Republic. And if we also take a look at the Barbados radar, not seeing much of anything across Barbados right now, but we do see some rain bands right here pushing into section of St. Lucia, some rainfall across section of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, some rainfall to the east of Grenada, some rainfall down in here just to the east of Tobago, pushing towards Trinidad as well. So they could be in for some decent rainfall this evening into tonight. Taking a look at the wider view of Doppler radar imagery, we can see the moisture associated with that tropical wave on the ABC Islands radar right here. We can see the moderate heavy rainfall. The ABC Islands doesn't really get rainfall like that, so I'm pretty sure that they're grateful for the rainfall that they're getting right now. We can also see that moisture that we mentioned earlier to the south of Puerto Rico pushing towards the west-northwest. We can also see some rainfall right here. Moderate heavy rainfall to the east of Nicaragua. Some rainfall across the Yucatan, northern Guatemala right here. And if we take a look at where the rainfall is expected across the Caribbean within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. And we see all of these dark reds into the purples and the pinks that represent anywhere from 2 all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall across the waters to the north of the ABC Islands. Some of these dark reds even into portions of the Dominican Republic. Very interesting. And we see that it's not only the Euro that shows this, but the GFS. Very, in agreement with what the Euro is showing. Well, other areas that are shaded in the greens, yellows, oranges, and red should be getting in on what we see here on the key on the right, anywhere from 0.1 of an inch of rainfall all the way up to 1 inch of rainfall. So we're talking about areas such as Cuba, the northern and southern Bahamas, sections of Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, sections of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, sections of Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana, Venezuela, the ABC Islands, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, sections of the Yucatan getting on some of the action as well. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. Alright, so let us see what's taking place across the Eastern Pacific. Not really seeing much. We're still watching that code orange right here to the south of Mexico. Something that has a medium chance of development within the next 7 days. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can see the cloud showers and thunderstorms associated with it as it pushes off towards the west. We know that the next name on the list for the Eastern Pacific is Sonia. So we've exhausted all of the A to R names. So Sonia is next on the list, then Tico, Velma, Wallis. Will we actually get Sonia? Only time will tell. On the Indian Ocean to the Western Pacific side of things, we're still watching Tropical Cyclone Chenge right here to the northeast of Madagascar. We can see what looks like a code orange right there on the equator, on the border. So where will it move? Will it move into the southern Indian Ocean, or will it move to the north into the northern Indian Ocean? We see it right here near Indonesia right here. So it's a medium chance of development right there. And we're still watching Tropical Storm Feng Shen Fengshen right here, just to the northwest of the Philippines, looking like it's about to brush southern China. We know we have a lot of friends or relatives from Jamaica who live or work in China, and we know that's expected to push into portions of Vietnam. And to the northeast of Taiwan, to the east of China, we have a new code yellow, something that has a low chance of developing within the next 7 days. And looking at the infrared, we can see tropical storm Chengfeng, right? It's still a tropical storm right here to the northwest of the Philippines. As a matter of fact, we have a lot of footage that came out on Volcaholic and Weather Monitor's page. We're going to be looking at that right now, showing the flooding that took place across portions of the Philippines because of this tropical storm. And we have that code yellow right here to the northeast of Taiwan, something that has a low chance of development. But regarding the latest year on tropical storm Chengge, it is still looking quite formidable. We know that on the southern Indian Ocean side of things, they're looking a bit reflected. So, you know, on the northern hemisphere, they're shaped one way. On the southern hemisphere, they're shaped the other way. So, you know, they're spinning in a clockwise fashion rather than the anti-clockwise fashion that we're used to. According to the latest here from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, tropical cyclone Chengge, it is packing 60 knot winds. I know that systems that pack anywhere from 34 to 64 knot winds are classified as tropical storms. So it's not up there yet into hurricane status. Doesn't seem like it's going to even make it up to hurricane status. Look at the intensity over the next couple of days. October 21, 60 knot winds, 55 knot winds. October 22, 55 into 50 knot winds. October 23, 40 knots to 35 knot winds. And then we see it right here, making its closest pass to northern Madagascar on the 25th of October, 13 knot wind. So it's going to be losing the intensity the more west it pushes. Regarding tropical storm Fengshen, right here to the south of Hong Kong, China, we have a lot of friends or relatives who live or work in this side of the world from the Caribbean. As you can see here, still trying to get its act together. Will it actually make it up into typhoon status? We know that typhoons are what they refer to as hurricanes on this side of the world. It is now packing 45 knot wind. So it is a tropical storm, anywhere from 34 to 64 knots. So it's up there in tropical storm intensity, medium range. So it's not closer to depression status or category 1 typhoon status. It is up there. It is expected to become a 15 knot tropical storm by October 21. By October 22, 40 knot. Then it should make its landfall into Vietnam right here. And we saw the path that it took from southeast to northwest across the Philippines. And as such, we have footage that came out of these countries. Look at this post here from Volcaholic on X. If you haven't been following this page, you need to fix that. Volcaholic stated here, major flooding hit parts of the Philippines from tropical storm Fengshen. In the Philippines, they had another name for it. They called it Ramil. It states here, thousands were evacuated, some areas badly submerged, and at least 10 people have died. Roxas City received about 365.5 millimeters, that's 14.39 inches of rain in a short period of time, over twice the normal October total. Copies Roxas City. And look at the inundation. Let me load up this image or this video so that you can see what took place. Look at the flooding that took place. I mean, that is somebody's kitchen. Can you imagine? Look at the water. People are in almost neck deep water. This is just a bad situation, and this is just from a tropical storm that is moving at a decent clip. So can you imagine this tropical storm that's coming? Well, this future tropical storm that's coming to Jamaica, boy. Hopefully we don't see videos like this. Look at the bus wading through the water. The bus can't swim. This is just crazy. And this was a normal moving tropical storm. What about this video here from Weather Monitor? This is another page that you need to follow if you haven't been following this page. Severe flooding following tropical storm Fengshen in Roxas City and Calbayog City, Philippines, October 19, yesterday. It states here, 31 barangays flooded, 830 families, 2,773 people evacuated. Flood waters reached chest height. 2 deaths reported. Overall, over 47,000 people evacuated since Saturday. So let us load up this video as well and see what it entails. All right, so what looks like a river, which I'm sure isn't even a river. And look at this. Is this somebody on a roof? My goodness. This is what these tropical systems do. Do we actually want Tropical Storm Melissa to come? No, we don't. We don't want the crazy flooding, but that seems like what's going to be taking place for sure. Look at the crazy inundation and the murky water. And this happened in the Philippines yesterday, October 29, from a tropical storm. Bridge inundated with flood waters. Boy, we're going to be seeing similar things next week this time, I'm sure. By next week this time, I'm sure we're going to be seeing similar things. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.